All right, so welcome to Area of Study 2, Chapter 15. This is talking about the three-step model and the effect of changes on the stakeholders. Um, we are going to be exploring the three-step change model as part of our learning intention, and the success criteria is I can explain the principles of the three-step change model and identify and describe the effect of change on stakeholders. So this is the think, pair, share that we have for today. So I think it's very important to have a feedback loop where you're consistently thinking about what you've done and how you could be doing better. I think that's the single best piece of advice. Constantly think about how you could change, how you could be doing things better, and questioning yourself. So that's by Elon Musk. So we just pause here and then just have a think, pair, share for yourselves. All right, welcome back. We'll go now into the keywords. So 15.1, the principles of the three-step change model. So this is by Lewin. This is a three-step change model, a change management model with three steps. And the three steps are: number one, to unfreeze the status quo; number two, move from the current to the new situation; and step three is to refreeze and embed the change. We've included this one here. Status quo means the existing state of affairs. So what is currently happening at this current point in time. 15.2 is the effective change on stakeholders, and there are no definitions in this one, but this is just remembering what stakeholders are. So an individual or a group that has a direct or vested interest. So these are what the keywords are here. So direct or vested interest in the activities of a business. So how anyone that is basically affected by the business. So we'll go into what the three steps change model is now. So it's a framework developed by Lewin for implementing and managing change in organizations. So the link to the business objectives, as usual, is provides a structured approach for transitioning from the current state to a desired state, desired future state. And if you want to go from A to B, this is how you're going to achieve the business objectives. For example, I want to have a small food truck and I'm going to go into a cafe instead. That's going from A to B. And the business objective there would be increasing market share, increasing sales, increasing profit. So generally, you are going to change for the better or change to improve what you are having an improvement area, basically. So step one, unfreeze, then move. So you're changing the actual situation. And step three is refreeze, the new one. So that's how you embed it. So step one talks about preparing the organization for change by challenging the status quo and creating awareness of the need for change. So basically, if there is something that is wrong or something that could be improved, you let it be known that you're about to change these things by good communication. You create awareness, so you're basically telling your team about it. You can also get some feedback surveys as well, so getting them on board. That's what we were talking about in the last chapter, where you involve the team members in a participative management style. So you have what you currently have, and then you're going to change that thing. So the strategies are conducting force field analysis to identify the driving and restraining forces, communicating the vision for change and its benefits to all stakeholders. So unfreeze. Step two is move. In this illustration, it's changed, but one or the other is fine. So how you're going to do that is transitioning from the current state to the new state through action and implementation. So you're going to actually implement all these different strategies, or you're going to implement these changes through your policies, your procedures, training and development as well. So the strategies that we include are engaging employees in the change process, providing training and support. So like what we were talking about, more of a participative style, and then you're going to provide them with the training so then they actually know how to make these changes. Role modeling desired behaviors by leadership. Trial and error during the learning approach. So this is probably a key one. This is what Elon Musk was talking about, is when you have the trial and error, you're going to be receiving some feedback from your team, from your managers, just so you know if what it is that you're trying to implement is working or not. And then you just adjust accordingly. And then lastly, consistent communication. So you got to keep them on the loop, or in the loop, I mean, just like what it was talking about in the high risk strategies in the last chapter, that you don't want to keep them in the dark. Otherwise, they won't actually know what's going on, and they won't be more invested in the change that you're trying to make. Step 3 is to refreeze. So the goal here is stabilizing the new state as a standard practice, ensuring the change is sustained over time. So once you've worked out all the different kinks and you have you and the team are happy with the changes that's made, you make that the new status quo. Basically, that's what the new thing is that you are currently doing now as part of your business practice. The strategies to do this is reinforcing new behaviors and practices through your policies, your systems, and your culture also. And then celebrating successes to solidify these changes. So as you go along the change, you're going to celebrate each time that there's like a milestone basically to the change. So then people know that that is what your company does now, or your business does now. Next, this is the effect of change on stakeholders. So these are the different stakeholders that we have as part of the business. So the managers, the impact is changes in the management practices, responsibilities, and need for new skills. So if you're going to make a change, they're going to have to change what they do. They might have to change who they're responsible for, or what the job description that they have now. And then because you're changing these things, they might need to have new skills. So it could be something like you are instead of being a manager of one department, you'll be a manager of 2 different departments as well. All right, so those are the different skills that's required, or you need to have new skills to manage more people. Next is employees, so effects on the job roles, so the different things that they have to do now, the work environments, and psychological impacts of change. So I think I told you guys about the change fatigue. So you might have a dynamic team or dynamic workplace, but if it's always changing, there's change fatigue that might happen as well. So that's something that you got to be considerate about on your employees also. Customers, how changes in products, services, or business operations can affect customer experiences and loyalty. So if it's a change for the better, so they might actually like it more and have a better customer experience and therefore become more loyal. But if you are changing, if there is something that customers really like, and then you change that, then they might have a poor experience and become less loyal because they are no longer getting the product or service that they used to get beforehand. We have suppliers, so the changes in contracts, expectations, and relationship between the business and suppliers. So the way that they, let's say for example that you are trying to become more environmentally friendly, so they have to change their operations as well, or it might even be that that you have to change suppliers completely because they can't service what it is that you require. We have the general community now. So employment opportunities. So basically, if you are starting up, let's say that you're going to start up a new McDonald's in a new suburb, that means that there's going to be a job available for 15, 16-year-olds to come into the McDonald's and work there in that community, in that new suburb. The different products and services provided. I think it's, mangoes are pretty expensive here in Victoria because they have to ship them down from Queensland, but I would imagine that it'd be pretty cheap up there because there's not a lot of that logistic costs as well. So it's just the different products and services that's provided within that local community, and then support for local community. So I know that there's like sponsors for the local footy club, for example. So it's going to be different businesses supporting these different community groups as well. The importance of this is that when you carefully manage the change or the change processes that you have, it minimizes negative impacts and maximizes benefits for all stakeholders. So the importance is if you get this right, yeah, where you are considering your stakeholders, you're going to have minimize this, so less negative and the most benefit for stakeholders. Now, it is a balancing act. So if you remember from the start of the year, we were talking about the conflict between the different stakeholders. So you can't please everybody, but what is it the best for achieving your business objectives? That is pretty much it. But effectively for this this chapter, this topic, what you need to be thinking most about is always the effect on this, and be very clear about the effect on the stakeholders. You might need to do a propose and justify when you are, or maybe even an outline when you're going through the different steps of unfreeze, move, and refreeze when a company is going through a business change. All right, that's it for today. Have a good one.